Oh yes, my Straight Talk family. It's time for me to keep moving on. And we are not going to stop right now. It's that at a few minutes late after 8. And we go right down until 10 p.m. Tonight. It's a Thursday night, and we come to you every Monday and Thursday from 8 in the p.m. or I should say from 8 to 10 in the p.m. And I want you to tell your neighbor, to tell your friend that Straight Talk is on the air. My Straight Talk family, it's time for me to say good night to St. Kitts and Nevis. Good night to the entire Caribbean. As a matter of fact, I should be saying good night to the world, because we are on the World Wide Web and we reach and touch you all over the world. So I am at liberty to say good night. I will say good morning, and I can also and will also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. I know that some of you are in Africa, the diaspora, Kittitian and Nevisian diaspora, and the Caribbean diaspora all over Africa. There's some of you in Europe. There's some of you in Asia. And there are a whole lot of you all over North America. As again, I have said good night. I have said good morning, and I have said good afternoon. And my Straight Talk family, for those who are joining me for the first time, you do have first timers, I want to welcome you, give you a special welcome to your first edition of Straight Talk. And just to let you know that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let's, in the process, strive to get St. Kitts back to that enviable position of being one of the freest countries in the world. It's going to be a hard ask, I know, but let's try, my Straight Talk family. Nothing beats a failure but a trial. And my Straight Talk family, just to let you know that on this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And normally we have what we call our observations in review. I'm minded to just go past the observations in review, although there are quite a few of them. You know, our load shedding continues here. Our scheduled load shedding continues. And I always point to the fact that it's because of the short-sightedness, the myopic approach to the government, or to governing, I should say, by this current or incumbent administration. I can't stop saying that they met a PPA, a power purchase agreement, signed by Skellig. And just because of the lack of understanding, my Straight Talk family, that government is a continuing process, you know. A government is continuous, but they don't see it that way. So they're frustrated that solar farm project that could have been given us at this moment in the peak period where there's higher demand. We have 36 watts of solar power just not being introduced into the system. And that would have accounted for some 25 or 35% of the Skellig output. And that, my Straight Talk family, it is so sad. That's the only thing I can say. It is sad, sad, sad. But I'm sure that we're going to get over that, my Straight Talk family, sooner rather than later, I hope. We have not heard anything as well about we have heard absolutely nothing about the amnesty. We know that an amnesty was launched for 2 or 3 weeks. We have heard nothing from the Commissioner of Police. We have not heard anything from the National Security Advisor. And as a matter of fact, he seemed to be gone into his bunkers, because after sparring so often and inciting us or exciting us, whichever word we can is appropriate, with his comments, National Security Advisor Lionel Lucy Rollins, my friend, I haven't heard you for some time, so we want to ensure that you are okay. I know that I see you riding high in your SUV. Let's hope that he is okay, my Straight Talk family. World Cup continues overseas and not in St. Kitts. I'm looking closely to see if any one of these ministers have the heart, have the gall to attend any of the World Cup matches. I understand that Prime Minister Drew has gone abroad again today. He works from abroad, as he says, and we hope we don't see him at any one of those matches live when we can't ourselves here in St. Kitts and Nevis benefit from that luxury of seeing those matches. But my thesis tonight, my Straight Talk family, is titled Fair Share of CBI Revenues and New Hidden Agenda. Because there must be a hidden agenda, there must be a hidden plan someplace when we examine what is going on in our country. The Prime Minister says nothing to the country. And again, I've heard he has gone abroad today. But many of us, my Straight Talk family, we would recall that historic morning on Wednesday, December 17th, 2014. I recall at the Red Cross building on Chapel Street, when the members of the People's Action Movement, the People's Labour Party, and the Concerned Citizens Movement came together and agreed to what was called the Charlestown Accord. It was eventually signed on the steps of the courthouse there in Charlestown. The three leaders back then, the late Vance Winkworth Amory of the Concerned Citizens Movement, the former leader of the People's Action Movement and Deputy Prime Minister, Sean Richards of the People's Action Movement, and of course the third Prime Minister representing the People's Labour Party, Timothy Sylvester Harris. The agreement stated, amongst many other things, that under a team unity government, Nevis shall receive its fair and equitable share of natural resources based on the pro rata population basis, to ensure that Nevis or Nevisians too will benefit fairly from the returns of national investments. We also agreed as well that revenue from passport processing fees under the Citizenship by Investment program shall be shared equitably with the Nevis Island administration based on a pro rata population basis. And we've always had issues as it relates to this revenue sharing. Because as a matter of fact, I would stand firm in my view that the Constitution addresses, I think it's called in the Constitution, revenue allocation. And this elementary argument about tax revenue and non-tax revenue is just that, an elementary argument, because all it is, or all they are economic classifications. But the current premier of Nevis, in whom a majority of Kittians and Nevisians have lost respect, had this to say on that historic morning. I'm sure we all remember this, my Straight Talk family.
I believe that these three parties here represented have come not for self-aggrandizement, not for lust of power, but rather to put aside historic differences and to bring into being a new paradigm of governance for our beloved nation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Today, right here in the heart of Charlestown, at the Red Cross building, our people will have an opportunity to be a part of this historic occasion, whether via the internet or via radio, or for those who are here assembled to see it with their own eyes. Speaking for myself, I never thought that in my lifetime I would see a day such as this. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, a set of individuals who have decided that it is better to put country above self. It is better to put aside whatever difficulties might have kept us back, and it is now important that we move together forward together as one and as a unified team.
As a unified team, and he pledged to put aside whatever differences had divided us and to move together as one unified team. And this team, my Straight Dog family, was really together. I can vouch to that. And the CCM leader, as of 2017, this leader thanked God publicly for unity. And these were his words, my Straight Talk family.
I am grateful that the Concerned Citizens Movement, the party that I'm now privileged to lead, took the wise decision to join Team Unity. The relationship between the two islands of St. Kitts and Nevis has never in the history been better than it is now. In the island of Nevis, when our youths go and run on the Mondo track, they say thank God for unity. When our people go and they see the new hospital wing under construction, thank God for unity. The new pier being built at Wally, thank God for unity. When they see not one, not two, but three double salaries back to back to back, they say thank God for unity. When they see Nevisians, now members of the diplomatic corps at home and abroad, thank God for unity. Never happened in 20 years. When we see the $500 poverty alleviation program, thank God for unity. Supervisor of elections, chairman of social security, speaker of this house, councillor of the SIDF, never happened. Thank God for unity. And just recently I got a call from a fisherman friend of mine in Nevis. Tell me get the money, the grant money that we made available to the development bank. Thank God for unity. A lot of our civil servants now can afford to have a home because of concessionary lending through the development bank. Our officials and farmers are being empowered across St. Kitts and the Nevis. And I'm saying that this would not have been possible were it not for the wise decision that was taken for these here's good Hebrew boys and girls to come together. And the wisdom of the people of St. Christopher Nevis to send the right people in here to serve them.
And when you hear Brantley and you listen to July talking each time about the development bank and how much money the development bank owes and what the development bank did and did not do, the snake Mark Brantley sits there docile, would say nothing when so many folks in Nevis benefited from development bank loans. He just spoke about the fisher folk, for example. But under the CCM leader, Brantley, especially following COVID-19, public debt in Nevis spiraled out of control and by 2023 reached over $500 million, believe it or not, my Straight Dog family. The NIA debt at the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank had to be reorganized. And this included the granting of a 2-year moratorium on payments and an increased overdraft facility. The Nevis Island administration under Snake Mark Brantley, though, defaulted on social security contributions on behalf of its public servants as things got so bad under his leadership. Imagine not paying the contributions for the public servants while deducting them and not paying the matching contribution for his government. And my Straight Talk family, so bad was the economy of Nevis and the budgetary support from St. Kitts of $66 million could not pay his wage bill. Remember, I said that the public debt had reached over $500 million, my Straight Dog family.
$480.08 million, which is an increase of 4.8% when compared to the debt level of $458.27 million as at December 31st, 2022. For the period under review, the central government domestic debt amounted to $450.74 million. Our central government debt, combined with the debts of our statutory corporations, provide an overall public sector debt of $544.69 million as at October 31st, 2023, which indicates an increase of 4% when compared to the public sector debt level of $523.92 million as of December 31st, 2020.
And that was the public debt in Nevis, my Straight Dog family, over $500 million up to December last year. And as I was saying earlier, the economy was so bad that the budgetary support received and totaling $66 million, $5.5 million per month, could not pay his $8 million wage bill or $96 million annual wage bill. My Straight Talk family could not pay this bill.
I asked Pierce, could you give me a sense of the salary, pension, and wages bill for the government of Nevis each month? And he sent it to me, $8,009,489.60. That's how much Nevis has to find each month to satisfy its public servants and its pensioners. When you multiply that by 12, our wage bill alone is $96,113,875.20. Let's just round it off and let's say $96 million a year.
$96 million per annum per year. So feeling the economic squeeze, Mark Brantley broke ranks with his leader and the cabinet and went public to demand more money from the CBI, which he called back then, or started to raise this voice and call back then his fair share. He demanded more money, as Straight Talk family.
As far as I'm concerned, as the Premier of Nevis, I am saying, I said it at the PAM convention, I'm saying it here now and on the mark, and I'm going to say it wherever I go, in and out of cabinet. Nevis demands its fair share of the resources. Note I didn't say an equal share, because St. Kitts is 3 times our size, we can't expect an equal share. But we demand a fair share.
He demanded a fair share. But my Straight Talk family, when we examine what is happening now, we must inquire if Brantley has abandoned his plea for a fair share of the CBI revenues. Many Kittitians and divisions believe he was saying fair share, and that was the reason he helped to mash up, using colloquial language, mash up the team unity government. He was going to get the $700 million he calculated the federal government owes Nevis if he mashed up the team unity government. And Brantley even said it did not need a World Bank team or any other team to come and advise this country about sharing the revenue, as any sixth former in Nevis could do the maths, he said. So Brantley helped to mash up the team unity government, the only government anywhere in the Western Hemisphere that created stimulus packages for its people in the darkest days of COVID-19. As far as we know, all the 6 farmers have not been able to convince the Jew administration. But Premier Brantley helped to install or to give Nevis its fair share. Instead, the snake Mark Brantley sponsored Philippe Martinez, a convicted felon who has done jail time, to launch a scheme designed to impoverish the CBI industry in St. Kitts and Nevis and enrich Martinez at the expense of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, my Straight Talk family. This convicted felon received over $10 million contributed by the NIA over a 2-year period and more, my Straight Talk family.
We have made it clear that yes, there is a financial arrangement with MSR. I believe the number is $150,000, if memory serves, 150,000 US dollars, that the NIA contributes. Remember, this was in the height of COVID, for what, 2 years now almost? So MSR continues to be a solid partner for us.
And you hear them say, oh dear, Mark Brantley, what have you done? You are going to be pleading for a fair share of nothing if you continue on this current path. And any 6 farmer can work out how much that is, because you're now mashing up the CBI, having mashed up Team Unity. But he has convinced, or has been convinced, I should say, by the Lebanese San Negro, who is a perennial loser. Yes, my Straight Talk family, he lost in Antigua. Just recently, we got this word from Antigua that he lost his High Court case advanced against the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown. Gaston Brown, my straight dog family, the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, did not mix matters with the Lebanese, because I like what he said, my straight dog family. I like what Gaston said about the Lebanese. I'm trying to find that, my straight dog family. Where did I put that there? But he did not mix matters, as I said. He mixed no matters with the Lebanese San Negro. And Gaston Brown, I said that, and my straight dog family, as I said, never mix matters with the Lebanese. And Gaston Brown, his own mind, don't hold his tongue, as we say in colloquial language. He will tell you what he says. And he did, in fact, tell the Lebanese this, my straight dog family. He said this to the Lebanese after the Lebanese obviously interfered with Gaston. He got this message from him, my straight dog family.
Coming to our country to stir poop on Observer Radio. Do I keep your poop in St. Kitts, man? Sure. Coming to our country to stir poop on Observer Radio. Do I keep your poop in St. Kitts, man? Sure.
And that's what he asks the Lebanese, to keep his poop in St. Kitts. But Dwyer can no longer poop in Antigua and Barbuda. So he went and pooped on a program with Lists of Farrier, a program called The Narrative, my straight dog family. And he had a long poop on this program. He said this.
A story of fraud, questionable due diligence, and the underselling of St. Kitts and Nevis passports to Chinese nationals is now the basis for a racketeering lawsuit filed in the United States. The RICO lawsuit in the U.S. federal court is against defendants Les Khan, who is the CEO of Caribbean Galaxy, developers of Galaxy Prison Project in St. Kitts, Mr. Claude Emmanuel, the CEO of the St. Lucia Citizenship by Investment Program, the CIP, Ms. Ying Jin, Dr. Denzel Douglas, the Foreign Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis and former Prime Minister of that country, as well as former St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris, and others. A claim for judicial review has also been filed in the High Court in St. Kitts, seeking an order of mandamus requiring the Prime Minister, in his capacity as Minister of National Security, to revoke all citizenships granted to applicants under the Galaxy Jail who paid less than the legal price. Felipe Martinez and MSR Media have also filed a RICO lawsuit against the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank in the United States District Court for the Middle District of Florida, Tampa Division. The plaintiffs allege that the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank participated in a scheme manipulating the U.S. banking system. According to the lawsuit, the National Bank processed transactions as the primary citizenship by investment bank in St. Kitts and Nevis. Bank personnel were allegedly aware of illegal discounting and underselling, processing CBI shares in their personal capacities while acting as representatives of the bank. MSR has issued a statement in which it states that recent information obtained clearly demonstrates that the Chinese company commissioned by Caribbean Galaxy, the developers of the Galaxy Prison Project, with the sanction of the Timothy Harris administration to carry out the due diligence of applicants under the prison project, paid a percentage of the fees it received back to Yingjin of Caribbean Galaxy. MSR has raised concerns about the number of Chinese with passports obtained through this St. Kitts Citizenship by Investment Program who are involved in alleged fraud cases. The CBI outfit says less than 4 months ago it was reported in England that a Chinese citizen with a St. Kitts and Nevis passport was involved in the laundering of $1.3 billion in cryptocurrency. The most recent case took place this month involving an arrest of a Chinese national in the United States for money laundering of $73 million US. Attorney at law in St. Kitts and Nevis, Dwyer Astafan, joins me now on The Narrative to discuss this matter. He says he believes that these Chinese bad actors are operating with the blessing of the government of the People's Republic of China, and it is part of their global expansion strategy. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you.
So we're looking at the situation here. Could we start with what are the breaches that the chief benefactor that has been appointed and MSR, what are the breaches that they are alleging here?
They're basically saying that citizenships were granted at prices below the legal minimums, depriving the government of its rightful revenue, excuse me, depriving the people of the country of the benefits from the investments had the rightful amount of money being spent, depriving the plaintiff itself of an opportunity, because from my understanding, the plaintiff was granted a package under the citizenship program at prices higher than what this particular prison project had received. And they're also saying that there's a Chinese company that was engaged by the developer, Galaxy. Let me explain very quickly. For this particular project, the applications were not made to the government. They were made to the developer. And the developer got the government of the day, the previous government.
The Timothy Harris administration.
Right. Got the previous administration to agree that a Chinese due diligence company would be engaged. So some of the narrative in the claim, excuse me, refers to alleged activities between the developer and the Chinese due diligence company.
Well, my straight talk family, let's address the issue of due diligence as intimated by the Lebanese. And ask yourselves, if you are taking a due diligence test in Russia or China for that matter, would you send an Englishman to do that test? Seriously. So let us examine the due diligence process. And I confirmed with the CIU in St. Kitts Nevis today that the same due diligence process that was established under Lescan, the former CEO of the CIU, that's the former Chief Executive Officer of the Citizenship by Investment Unit, that same due diligence process still exists as we speak. And there are 4 levels of due diligence that still exists. One can be outlined as this.
We have basically 4 levels of due diligence. The first is done by our agents around the world who do a check on the client before they accept the client as a candidate for citizenship. They will do an anti-money laundering check, a terrorism financing check. That's the first level at the agent's point in their country.
And that's expected. The first level, we do an anti-money laundering and terrorism financing checks are done. Let's look at level 2, my straight talk family.
The second level is when it comes to our local service providers. All files for citizenship must go through a local lawyer or accountant who are registered with our FSRC, our regulatory body, and who will ensure that the service provider is properly regulated and licensed. That service provider also has to do a due diligence on the client, again, to make sure they know the client that they are submitted into the unit.
And level 2 the Financial Service Regulatory Commission is the regulatory body that does its own due diligence on the service providers, and the service providers do their due diligence as well. Let's go to level 3, my Straight Talk family.
The third level of due diligence would be when the file comes into the unit, the documents are sent to an international due diligence provider. This due diligence company will do open source searches, will find out what's going on in terms of media, but they will also send the information to agents on the ground, wherever that person is located. At that point in time, there will be checks on marriage certificates, on birth certificates, education, employment, salary information. All of this data is provided back to the unit in a report that basically is there to support the integrity of the individual.
And that's, again, my Straight Talk family. The international due diligence provider would provide a report on the integrity of the applicant. Marriage and birth certificates are some of the things that have to be provided. And the final and very important due diligence step is this, my Straight Talk family.
The fourth level of due diligence is when we submit the files or the information to international law enforcement. International law enforcement, there's a group in the Caribbean that consolidates all of this data, and they will search databases for anti-money laundering, fraud, criminal activity, terrorism financing, terrorism activity. And we will get that information back. At that point, when we have all of these due diligence reports, we will go through a rigorous vetting of the file. And there is a level 1 vetting, there is a level 2 vetting, a level 3, a level 4. Each one of these stages looking at the documents in the file against the reports that we've received from the due diligence sources. We will look for money laundering activity and bank statements. We look for source of income and proof of funds. These are all the rigor that we put around the due diligence and the actual application process to ensure that we maintain the platinum brand, and we only ensure that individuals of high integrity come into our program.
Isn't that a rigorous due diligence process, my Straight Dog family? So when this Lebanese San Negro is giving us this red herring about Chinese firms do due diligence, how the hell can any other firm do diligence in China? But it goes the final step, a very important step. All the files are sent to international law enforcement agencies, and even in the Caribbean, we understand. I think the Joint Regional Communications Center, I think it's called, that do the due diligence. That center is mainly responsible for the operations and management. We think of the AP system, the Advanced Passenger Information System, which screens approximately 40 million passengers annually. How many of us are aware that when we book a flight, whether on Liat, American, JetBlue, your name goes right through an APIS, an Advanced Passenger Information System. And they know, if you are a terrorist, if you are a criminal, you ought to be flagged, my Street Dog family. You ought to be flagged. You will be flagged. So we must keep our distance from this Lebanese San Negro as his poop stinks. His poop stinks, my Street Dog family. So think carefully for yourselves. Because Dwyer is named as an advisor of the convicted felon, and he comes to tell us about this RICO case. You remember he brought the news about this RICO case, my Street Dog family? You remember that?
This case, the case that was filed in Tampa last week, if it is fully ventilated, might help to bring out some of the truth. It might reveal to us and to others the truth as to what happened with our CBI. And we need to know. So however we can get the truth, lawfully and properly, I am for it. And while I lament the pain that it may cause us, this is a process that has been made inevitable as a result of what has been happening in our country for the last 12 to 15 years, maybe longer.
Why do you want to put pain on the country? This advisor, Astefan, to the convicted criminal Philippe Martinez, also revealed the information on the second case by Straight Dog family. Could you imagine this?
A lawsuit which has been filed locally seeking an order from the High Court to revoke all citizenships granted for the prison project that were transacted at prices below the legal minimum. This lawsuit is going to be interesting also in a statement confirming knowledge of it and acknowledging that illegal underpricing had indeed taken place and that his administration took steps to stop it by passing the legislation in December of 2022. The Prime Minister asserted that while he will ensure that the rights of bona fide, genuine citizens are protected, he will revoke any passport that was gotten by illegal means. And that is very heartening. He stated that the government has engaged.
My Straight Dog family, what could be heartening about that? Revocation of passports. But 3 months after assuming office, Dr. July told us that the prison project could not be switched. He said it just cannot switch the prison project. And Straight Dog family.
We understand with the CBI program, you just can't switch to anything else.
That's his words. July, when figures are revealed, we will all find out that Dr. Terence Michael July signed most of the certificates of registration. So how the hell he's going to be contemplating revoking passports? He signed these CORs. July also said this in the parliament, my Straight Dog family. He said this as well. I beg your pardon for that, my Straight Dog family. We seem to be having a sound issue with that one there. Let's see if we can sort it out in the meantime. But he said to the parliament, my Straight Dog family, he said some things to the parliament which we need you to hear them. We need you to hear this, my Straight Dog family. We need you to hear this, and I'll make sure that we hear it so we can bring the facts. Bring all the facts to you, my Straight Dog family. We have to make sure we provide all the facts, as I said, my Straight Dog family. Okay, I'm not certain why we're not hearing that soundbite there, my Straight Dog family. I'm not certain we are not hearing that, you know. Okay, we'll get back. I do apologize for that. Certain why we're not hearing. I'll get back to that, my Straight Dog family. I'll get back to that because something I want you to hear that because it's very important we hear that. But the fact is, though, my Straight Dog family, July told the parliament that for every application, there are 4 members in a family. So if you do the calculation, July said that the number of passports issued, he did say this. That's why I wanted to ensure that we have that soundbite. I'll try and make sure I get that soundbite up. But he did say to us, my Straight Talk family, that the number of passports issued is about 25,000 passports. 25,000 passports, he said, were issued, my Straight Talk family. And that really is an alarming figure by all counts. It is, my Straight Talk family.
For example, the CBI program, we know that one of the major projects that was approved under the previous administration was a prison project, Madam Speaker. A prison was approved. And 5,500 citizenships, or shares rather, Madam Speaker, shares, as it was called then, shares, was used for that project. It means, therefore, that 5,500 main applicants, if they were to invest in the prison project, can apply for citizenship. And if they would have passed the due diligence and other screening procedures, can access our passport. But Madam Speaker, that is just the main applicants. If you have a family of 4, that is a single share. With a family of 4, that's 4 times 5,500 passports, Madam Speaker. Do a calculation. I'm asking the people of this country. I've been asked for the numbers. And even members from the other side who know very well what the numbers are, they have asked that the numbers be given, but we took a deep dive, and now we are ready to say what happened with that project. So if you were to multiply 5,500 by 4, and the mathematicians are here, I am sure you'll get well over what? 20,000? Yes. 20,000. What is the population of St. Kitts and Nevis, Madam Speaker? About 55,000 on a good day. And just on one project, Madam Speaker, a prison project, the previous administration allowed access to a number of passports, which is about half of the population of St. Kitts and Nevis.
So let's use his analogy, my Straight Talk family. Let's do the calculation. July said the number of passports issued is about half of the population. So for easy calculation, let's use 25,000 people, which is less than half of the 51,000 or 52,000 people or persons or population. And as he said, a family of 4, he suggested. So when we look at the fees, let's examine the fees. A family of 4. The husband pays $25,000 US dollars, that should be. The wife, US $15,000. And 2 children to make the family of 4 at $10,000 US dollars each. That's $20,000. So 20 plus 15, 35 plus 25. You know, my strongest weak point is maths, so forgive me, but I believe the overall total in fees would be $60,000 US dollars for one family. Therefore, $60,000 by 5,500 shares, that would equal $330 million US dollars, my Straight Talk family. Calculate that at 2.7 to the EC dollar. That gives us approximately $1 billion if we round it off in fees collected. So is July telling us that he collected $1 billion EC from the Caribbean Galaxy project? If that is so, then Prime Minister July is not only dotish, but he's also a dundudik. And I say so because, think of it, Caribbean Galaxy gave us Ramada Hotel. And if things go all right, we are getting a correctional facility on which the St. Kitts Nevis Treasury, based on his own calculation, would earn $1 billion EC dollars. If July knows what he's saying. So if so, how could he take sides with a convicted fraudster who already, my straight dog family, who already raped the treasury, the Nevis Island Treasury, of over $10 million? This convicted felon has raped the treasury of over 10 million EC dollars, my straight dog family. That's the figure I have come up with. We know that's what the snake told us, my straight dog family.
MSR, as you hear, they got more than what they brought. Whether Nevis or St. Kitts, and somebody gonna back them up and support them to go and push this thing. Or they lose the case and they could help them pay. I mean, I'm serious. I am offended, you know. Our loyalty, we say we are Kittitians and we're loyal, but we're loyal to whom? That's my question. Anyway, all of us have time to pray. Start praying about our security, our safety, and ask the Lord to have mercy on all of us.
Yes, let's pray. As a matter of fact, MSR got so much money from the NIA Treasury, from Mark Brantley and his NIA cabinet. And he just filed negative returns. A loss he filed of some $275,000. That's what he just filed with the government, with the Inland Revenue Department, my straight dog family. A loss of $275,000. I put that to the nearest, my straight dog family. But he was allowed in Nevis, my straight dog family, allowed into Nevis without proper due diligence, and did not conform to all of the COVID-19 protocols, my straight dog family. Yet the snake, Mark Brantley, is gloating about the fact that he was not named. Imagine that, my straight dog family.
So I have seen, in short answer, Freedom, the allegations and counter allegations. I've seen the lawsuit. I've read some 102 pages, I think it was. Took my time and I read it. And I am comforted that there is not one single allegation against me or anybody in Nevis. Not one. So all who have cocoa or sun and rain coming, they're going to have to go deal with that. But there's no cocoa in the sun in Nevis. And if there's any in the sun in Nevis, the sun is shining, no rain is coming. There's no mention. And I thought it instructive that MSR, who was brought to the Federation by us, the NIA, to make movies, is now in this international battle, it looks like, with functionaries on the island of St. Kitts. And nobody in Nevis whatsoever has been named in that lawsuit, nor has there been any allegation against anybody in Nevis in relation to that lawsuit. And so Freedom is asking what advice I would give. I believe all those who are sued have lawyers. That is their job, to advise their client. It's not for me to advise anybody. But I am comforted in the reality that there has been nothing untoward said of me or my administration, or anyone else for that matter, on the island of Nevis. Some of the allegations are quite explosive.
Explosive, yes, my straight dog family. But how could Mark Brantley the snake be named when he is a key witness in the case. The snake is named by the convicted fraudster as a key witness. In his legal notice, he refers to the snake at paragraph 4 in that notice, my straight dog family. Very, very clear. Speaking about his radio program and the things he said. That's the evidence he has advanced to the court. My straight dog family. Snake, Mark Brantley said he was not sued by MSR. But how many of you, my straight dog family, I'm going to give you some information tonight. How many of you are aware that Snake Mark Brantley was in fact sued by a firm or individuals, a plaintiff, let me use the right words here, sued by a plaintiff, my straight dog family, in Colorado? How many of us was aware of that, my straight dog family? Many of us, I'm sure, was not aware of this particular case brought against Mark Brantley. We were not aware, I am sure, of this, my straight dog family. Mark Brantley was sued in 2020, my straight dog family. Look at it. Paragraph 7 of the complaint, my straight dog family reads, that complaint in the United States District Court for the District of Colorado reads, and I quote, there are reports to indicate that corporate bribery is prevalent in Nevis in an instance involving citizens by investment program, a citizenship by investment program, beg your pardon. The Nevis government officials were involved in fraud, it reads. These facts, my straight dog family, are particularly disturbing, given that the defendant Brantley is one of the top government officials, it continued, my straight dog family. It continued. The plaintiff set out 7 causes of action: conflict of interest, breach of duty, violation of professional integrity, violation of ethical duty, making corrupt payments to a foreign official, misuse of confidential information, breach of fiduciary trust. So Mark Brantley knows what it feels to be targeted by a United States lawsuit, because it happened to him 4 years ago, my straight dog family. And guess what? The United States lawsuit against Mark Brantley and his law firm was dismissed. It was dismissed on the 6th of May 2020 for lack of what it called subject matter jurisdiction. In other words, the court in Colorado had no jurisdiction in the matter. On that basis, the case was dismissed. So why is Mark Brantley gloating that he is not named in the United States RICO lawsuit by Philippe Martinez? Yes, I told you he is his star witness. But when he has personal knowledge that being named in a United States lawsuit might not mean anything, it can be dismissed as well, the current RICO case, for lack of subject matter jurisdiction. So who is fooling who, my straight dog family? The mere fact that somebody sues you in the US or the United States of America does not necessarily mean that there is a case against you. And then, Snake Mark Brantley is boasting that he is not in the RICO lawsuit filed by convicted felon Philippe Martinez. was brought against the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank. The same St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank that the Mark Brantley-led NIA owes so much money that he won't or cannot pay. And my Straight Talk family, July, is also gloating about not being included as well and is distancing himself from the lawsuits. But doesn't July understand his role as Prime Minister and Minister of Finance? Doesn't July understand or is aware that government owns 51% of the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank shares? Why don't he man up, my Straight Talk family? But truth be told, my Straight Talk family, when we analyze everything, Dwyer is trying to get even with Denzel Douglas, who brought him into the party. Astafan, as Minister of National Security, deported a white businessman, I told you before, and Douglas brought him back. Brought back the man. And Dwyer then called a bluff. He called a bluff and he resigned, my Straight Talk family, with 6 months' notice to Douglas. 6 months' notice he gave to Douglas and he resigned from the cabinet. Douglas did not fall for Dwyer's bluff and held his resignation, my Straight Talk family. He held his resignation letter on his desk for the 6 months and never said a word to Dwyer, even when Dwyer tried to withdraw his resignation letter. And I said to you before that Douglas is my friend, though we had our political differences. But he is someone I knew from my school days, and our differences were not fatal to our long-standing friendship. He and I spoke on a regular basis when he became Prime Minister. And as a matter of fact, it's because of Douglas I myself got into the public service. When Douglas headhunted me, 2 words he used to capture me. And I can hear him now, man patches, it's public service. The point is, my Straight Talk family, Douglas has said many things to me in confidence, and I will never repeat any of them except one, this one. When I asked Douglas about Dwyer's resignation, Denzel told me that it was the best thing that happened to Labour. And remember, Dwyer was subsequently expelled from the party. Astafan also had issues with Timothy Harris, my Straight Talk family. Lots of issues. Because he expected that his client, Bazarian, would be handed the $41 million US contract for the construction of the new cruise pier. This was not to be. And today I believe that Dwyer is still bitter. Ironically, my Straight Talk family, back then, he threatened to file a judicial review of the Casper decision. But the little common sense he has prevailed. Or perhaps he backpedaled upon receipt of the Casper chairman's letter. He backpedaled upon receipt of this letter from the chairman of Casper, my Straight Talk family. It's very clear. Very, very clear, my Straight Talk family. He backpedaled upon receipt of that letter. Read it for yourselves, my Straight Talk family. You will see why. You'll understand why he backpedaled. He backpedaled, my Straight Talk family, yes. Yes, he did. He says, "Dear Mr. Astafan, as the chairman of the board of the St. Christopher Air and Seaports Authority, SCASPA, I am horrified that you have access to and have referred extensively in your letter of April 4, 2016 to myself and copied to other board members, members of cabinet, and your attorneys to information that ought only to be in the possession of the management and board and members of the board. What compounds this matter? The letter continues. What compounds this matter is that your letter refers to text messages you sent to myself less than 24 hours after the board meeting, reflecting the deliberation of the board. The question must be asked and answered as to how the confidential information and the results of the board's classified deliberations have come to your knowledge and wrongfully into your possession. This matter and any further improper publication of SCASPA's confidential information clearly would require further discussion and advice from our counsel. Without prejudice to the foregoing, I wish therefore to apprise you formally that the board passed a resolution which has already been transmitted to our parent ministry. The project is now before the said ministry for its consideration and appropriate action. Signed by the then chairman of SCASPA, Don N. M. Boncampo. So my Straight Talk family, you realize as well that recently Dwyer had messages from the Attorney General which he sent to his client. So he's been always working inside my Straight Talk family. He's been always working inside. But until this day, he hates Timothy Harris and would do everything to see his downfall. And that has found them an ally in July. Drew, on the other hand, is settling his grievance with Douglas, as Douglas found Drew out of order. Drew ultimately wants to get out of Douglas's shadow, and this, to him, may be his golden opportunity. So suddenly, he finds an unsuspecting ally in the snake Mark Brantley, who has taken Nevis to the brink of bankruptcy. Yes, Nevis, under the snake, has a staggering public debt, I told you earlier, of over $500 million. For Mark Brantley, he believes now he has an opportunity to use his inexperience, or this inexperienced, incompetent leader, July, whose minority vote was questioned by many rank and file of the Labour Party, my Straight Talk family. Notwithstanding this, or notwithstanding that, however, he is the Prime Minister, and the snake Brantley has seen an opening to get more than his fair share. Look at it. The snake Brantley, as opposition leader, has never opposed the government. Never. And now he sees a far-fetched opportunity to replace Denzel Douglas as Minister of Foreign Affairs. But how politically absurd could July and snake Brantley get to think that they can use a convicted felon, Philippe Martinez, and the Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin to destroy the legacy of Timothy Harris, and worse yet, to destroy the legacy of Denzel Llewellyn Douglas, who the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party rank and file, to whom they consider simply the best. My Straight Dog family, Mark hates Douglas. All his life, he has hated Douglas. He He has told lies on Douglas, my straight talk family. Remember, he came to the cabinet or the parliament, rather, and told this lie about Douglas.
They say a passenger traveling outbound from Gatwick to Dubai on Emirates EK010 was detained with a large amount of cash. The passenger did not declare the cash. They ended up with a total of 78,000 US in cash, 9,000 pounds in cash, and 2,000 EC.
And that was the last lie he told on Douglas, my straight dog family. And he'll do anything to get rid of Douglas. But Douglas has made his sacrifice. For nigh 35 years, one recall when Douglas was a student on scholarship at UWI in Mona. The then PAM government withdrew the support for the scholarship, but he still soldiered on with help from some good people in St. Kitts, and he burned the midnight oil to complete his medical degree. I recall that, my street dog family. When he came back to St. Kitts, he started a thriving medical practice. He didn't need government. It was okay, my street dog family. Tim Harris himself could have gone, having done his PhD, had a professorial job awaiting him. He too made his sacrifice. Remember when he was fired from the Social Security? They all made sacrifices. They both made sacrifices, my straight dog family. But July allows the Prime Minister's office to be weaponized against this Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and its people. My straight dog family, I want to nonetheless commend Ashley Allers. I must commend Ashley Allers for standing up like a man. I'm not surprised he normally stands up, but I want to conclude with this unedited. I listened to this yesterday and I decided not to edit it. I will play it in its totality in concluding my straight dog family.
On this topic this afternoon, and it is one that is very important to me as a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. I believe that a lot of people in the Federation still don't understand the implications of what this gentleman has done. Now, we have a situation where a man came into the Federation to make movies, and we were paying him. Well, the Nevis Island administration was paying him, it is my understanding, $150,000 US per month for the last 2 years. And he was able to accumulate some money, and he came across to St. Kitts, and he got some more from the government here in St. Kitts. He saw a golden opportunity, and he went and he bought the OTI with our money. So we gave him money in Nevis, we gave him money in St. Kitts, and he decided to buy the Ocean Terrace Inn with our money. And then he decides he wants to make more money. So he's going to use the Ocean Terrace Inn and his so-called film industry to make more money. That's what it is. And so he applied under the former administration for what you call shares. And so he was given a number of shares to sell the OTI and his film industry to make a lot of millions of dollars. Yeah. EK, you with me?
I'm listening.
No. He is not a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. But he has been here for a while. And he must have known the players in the industry, in the CBI industry.
Yeah, once you're in it, you're going to know. If you're in it, you're going to know.
Well, exactly.
Okay.
And so, he must have known about the prison project that was going and all that was happening. But he still decided to venture into it. Well, the CBI industry, if you don't have the connections and if you don't have the people on the outside world to sell for you, God eat your supper. I have been involved in this CBI program for years. I have left this country. I've gone to Dubai. I've gone to England. I've gone to China. And you come back with nothing. Well, who is he to feel that he can come to St. Kitts and get me money and get me a hotel and he just walk in just so and walk over with millions and laugh afterwards? I want the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to understand the implications here. This man has put an attack on the National Bank. And for me, that is first and foremost.
You come personal now.
Because it means I'm sitting behind my desk, and I am doing some business overseas with the National Bank. And in order for me to get the funds transferred to where I wanted to go, there are corresponding banks, Bank of America and so on, that I have to use to National Bank. This man is jeopardizing that. When Rams and Value Mart and all of the different businesses, they want to send off the wire transfers to their the people, the suppliers, that will stop. That will stop. This is what this man is doing to this country. He is not even a citizen of this country. However, he get this money from Nevis, and he got some from Timothy Harris. It is about the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, Douglas and Timothy Harris, and all the people we name. They're going to be able to defend themselves. But he has put attack on me and my family and my friends and the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. I have a problem with that. Now, how could he be still listed on our CBI program, trying to sell his movies? I have always had a problem with that. He is selling movies and by using our passports. That is what he wants. So a man making the movies and we passport going for that. I have a problem with that. And I have spoken out about that in the past. It must come to an end. He should not have been given any passport to sell by making movies. Let him come and develop St. Kitts. Let him go and build a hotel. Let him go and build a prison. Let him go and build a school. And that is what we are reaping today. A mistake that was made some years ago. And a man who come back to this country, who knows nothing about this country, want to come and rip us off and put us in a bad situation with the outer world.
And yes, my Stray Dog family, I wanted to commend Ashley Allers, for standing up like a man. I know he can. He's an Aquarian. And sounding the trumpet for us all. And giving us a call not to bear arms, although we need arms. Not a call to battle, but we are all embattled. But a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle with partial darkness, at times total darkness, under this July Labour Party in office. We can't bear for much longer. We have to struggle. Those on PAP who have been taken off the poverty alleviation program. No water, no electricity. In the housing revolution, we have 600 houses what we built in a year. They've only built two. 2 out of 600. Their silence is deafening. The high cost of food and inflation. There's no relief in sight, my Straight Talk family. And if we don't take stock, you'll be weeping and moaning and gnashing of teeth, my Straight Dog family. But I wanted to play those comments from others about the fraud, Philippe Martinez. And this is what I mean when I talk about the snake Mark Brantley and the Lebanese San Negro and the fair share of CBI revenues and the new hidden agenda. That's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I tarried much longer tonight, deliberately. I apologize for those of you who wanted to call in a little earlier. But I now open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And you may wish to talk about these serious matters, my Straight Dog family, very serious matters. Just respect yourselves and respect others. Just my Straight Dog family as well. Try to be fair to all concerned and make sure the things you say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in saying and doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. It's 9:27. I go to the lines and say good night to our first caller. Caller, you live.
Good evening, Mr. Liburd. The quote for this evening: leadership is a privilege to better the lives of others. It is not an opportunity to satisfy personal greed. I repeat, leadership is a privilege to better the lives of others. It is not an opportunity to satisfy personal greed. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Always admire and welcome your quotations. Leadership, if I got that right, is A privilege to better the life of others, not an opportunity. Did you say enrich yourselves? I think so. But let's go back to the lines, caller. You are live. Hello.
Mr. Buddy, good night.
Good night, the Bible man. Good night. How art thou tonight?
I'm fine, Patty. Patty, I got something to tell you, but I am going to really read Psalm 91. Patty, we are in serious trouble now.
Yes, we are.
Really serious trouble. I am going to say something to you. I ain't going to take up so much time, but I am going to take up something to tell you.
Please.
Patty, I was in my yard yesterday, Patty. I have some south trees. One is in my bound. A man come down out of his yard and went on my south tree and picked me south up. So I called the policeman. To make a long story short, the policeman come down to the man, and the policeman ain't say one blessed word to me. He talked to the man who done pick me out up and cut me in my yard. And I said to myself, boy, no, we are in serious trouble because the people that who supposed to look after we now we no really satisfaction. So me turn to you, Lord, you hear about it? So I am going to read Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide on the shadow of thy mighty. I will say to the Lord, He is my refuge, my fortress, in God will I trust. Surely He shall deliver me from the snares of the fowler, and from the mouth of the pestilence. He shall cover me with His feathers, under His wings thou trust. His truth shall be my shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the hour that flieth by day, nor the person that walk in darkness, nor the destruction that come at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 1,000 at thy right shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes thou shalt behold and see the reward of the wicked. That is, I finish here. But I am telling you, we are in serious trouble in St. Kitts. I tell myself, I have to pray and I have to fast because we are in serious trouble. Because the people who are supposed to look after me, they ain't doing it. See you, bye-bye.
Have a good night, my dear brother. I trust that you would be okay. And those people, as you said, would look after you, my dear brother. It's now 9:32, my Street Dog family, and the lines are open, as I intimated earlier. The numbers are on your screen. I suspect I'll have to give you this other number, though, of my next line for the overseas vote, because somehow it seemed to every other show that official line seemed to, for whatever reason, go down. But if you have just joined me, my Street Dog family, we are looking at our thesis tonight, which we titled tonight our thesis, as I mentioned earlier, but just for those who join me for the first time, it's fair share of CBI revenues and new hidden agenda. Fair share of CBI revenues a new hidden agenda. Because there's actually some hidden agenda. And people are not concerned about country. They are obviously concerned about self. And we have to stand up. We have to stand up, my Straight Talk family, and ensure that we do not allow, Alas was just referring to this man as a gentleman. He's not a gentleman. Don't be so kind. He is a crook. He has defrauded people before, and I have every reason that he will defraud us as well, given the opportunity. And my Straight Talk family, this email reads, Mr. Let's take this line. I'll get back to the emails. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Are you there, caller? Hello, caller?
Yeah, hello?
Yes, you're live, my brother.
Yeah, good evening, Patches and all.
Good evening.
As usual, all who listening our program. Our program. I have a special greeting to my best friend up in Miami. My namesake, Vincent Walters, a.k.a. Abdul. Well, Patches, as the Boyleman said that, we have a lot of problems. And every day, more and more people are getting to their conscious state of mind and realizing that our country has gone way past our expectations. Sorry, the water and stuff on the phone. But anyway, soon our country will be blacklisted among countries like Iran and Russia and China and those other countries who are against democracy. With the behavior of July and people like the Alsatian, German Shepherd, the Lebanese man, those greedy, raving, gluttonous, grabalicious attitude they got. They will cause this country here to be in no business at all. And I want to thank Ashley Allows tonight, my religion, my good friend. We are on different sides when it comes to the political parties. But Ashley, I am so glad that you speak your mind and you let us know that if you are such a big Labour supporter and you discuss with that behavior, I with you 100%. Because this man, this fraudster, this scamp, he don't get in a kind of Moldau and he reached down in the Caribbean to the OECS countries, Barbados, and they refuse him. And then they snake Mark Brantley in Nevis, spread out his two hands like a cross and tell him, come in, welcome here, you come to movies, so that is great. Because I heard Mark Brantley said, a lot of people in Nevis are already being employed to be with the movie. Well, it's one federation, and he come look to St. Kitts to try his stuff. And he come to Nevis, the Caribbean, Brooks, and get $150,000 US from the Nevis Island administration. That money they were should have been spent in Nevis to build up the infrastructure and all the different things in Nevis. But he come here to see how much money he could rob us and rip us off in this country. And then he was able to purchase OTI Hotel. So that's going to be now his movie station to make more money off of us, our money, and he not from here. And all them kind of thing that this government administration allowed to be going on, it is not right. Actually, I with you 100%, and I'm backing you and anybody who are against this foolishness we're going on with this man here. And that Lebanese man, my next call going to be about that Lebanese fraudster. I'll come back, Patty. Let me give somebody else a chance to come in. Thank you so long.
Thank you very much. Yes, my Straight Talk family, you may have just joined us. I'll take this email, Mr. Mack. I listened to you on the Let's Talk programs in the discussion on the lawsuit with Philippe Martinez. I totally agree with what you articulated. However, I will go further and say the reason why Brantley's name was not included in the suit, in my opinion, is because he is one of the star witnesses. Dwyer, no doubt, would be the other. Mr. Mack, have you carefully perused the last paragraph of Douglas's response, where he claimed that mischievous makers and their accomplices on the ground here in St. Kitts and Nevis will not triumph in their long-held obsession to distort the legacy he has built for his country, for this country? Only Mark and Dwyer Douglas could mean. Also remember that Mark had said in the House, Prime Minister Harris, I hope when Boris Johnson sent for him in England to be tried, you will not hesitate to send him. McMahon, remember, that Wabu is one of Mark Brantley's palace guards, so don't be daunted. Read this email. This other email reads, on the question of speakers and their behavior in Parliament, Sam went on to say that Curtis Martin was a disgraced speaker, and that too I concur with. But for Sam to say Speaker Perkins was the worst of them all, Sam, you gotta be mad. Who could be a worse speaker than Curtis Martin? That man treated you like a dog. He called you all kinds of insulting names as though you were nobody. The only living thing had left for him to do was to physically kick you out of the Parliament. And by the way, you were not a member of Parliament when Perkins was the Speaker. But you see, Sam, you are nothing but a joker, because when you had to withstand all the embarrassment from Curtis Martin, not one of the Labour comrades in the House rebuked Martin. Instead, they were laughing at you. Harris had to stand up for you in the House. But then again, Sam, you seem to have liked it so. You must remember all the good Harris has done for you in the past, one of which is to get the USA to lift the ban against you so that you could visit America. Never mind, it was conditional. And you must tell us, Sam, what you did while the USA had banned you from entering America. In spite of that, you were the Deputy Prime Minister. Leave Harris alone. Otherwise, I will expose the reason why. Reads this email. This other email reads, my Straight Talk family, every request Mark made to Harris for an increase in the CBI funds for Nevis, Harris accommodated him. Bearing in mind, Douglas never gave him as much as a copper. At one time, Harris was forced to ask him how much increase he needed, and he opted and said how much he wanted, and Harris fulfilled his request. He was never satisfied, so he came back to Harris again for more. Harris painfully said to him, "Oh Lord Mark, man, what are you doing with all that money I am giving you? Because the people of Nevis are saying none of the several projects are completed in Nevis. So what are you doing with all that money I am giving you? You are a bad spender and a bad manager, Mark. Sound truthful words that cannot be condemned." It was Papa Wheeler, the popular division calypsonian, who asked Mark in his calypso last year, where the money gone and what, and he can't answer. But we divisions know why it wait gone. Time will surely tell. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Hey, good evening, man. How you doing, man?
I am peaceful. Oh, my overseas line is working. That's good news. Yes, I'm peaceful. What about you?
Yeah, very peaceful myself. I wanted to ask you a question. That original Charleston Accord, right? Was there an agreement in that accord about the limitation of the 2 terms for Timothy Harris. I just wanted to ask you that and get some clarity.
Yes, it had in a clause with 2 terms for the Prime Minister.
So therefore, being that Vance Army was the one that was signing off, who was the premier at that time, does that mean that when Timothy stepped down, Vance was going to be in the mix instead of Mark? Because at that time, Mark wasn't premier yet, correct?
Well, it was Sean Richard was the heir apparent. That was the agreement.
Okay. So it was going to go to Sean Richards firstly of anybody else.
That's how we call this.
Okay. Let me get on the MSR media thing just for a quick minute. Everybody is now maybe getting caught up with this thing, and a lot of people is now recognizing that this CBI program is a national asset and it's under attack. And some persons are now, defending, and the narrative is changing a little bit, and I agree with that narrative that's changing. And I want to thank that caller that that's your guy that took your feed, Ashley Allows or whatever his name is.
Yes.
These are people who is speaking up in the defense of the country. So my question to you tonight, Patches, is why is it so important for all of these politicians to come up with a statement to distance themselves from this situation? Why is it so important for them to do that if they know that their names are not listed in these court documents, especially those ones whose names are not listed? Let me move forward again. Let me ask you another question. If these politicians want the people to be on their side, let me ask you this question tonight for everybody to hear. Did any one of them file a countersuit? Did any one of them file any motion for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis in protection of the CBI? And my advice to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis is to say to them, with no corruption when we see it. Corruption, it doesn't have a face. It doesn't matter which party is alleged to be involved with this stuff or whoever. A part of that Dwyer clip you played, it was 2 words in there that caught my attention: illegal underselling. Illegal underselling. If that underselling was so illegal, my question to you and the public is, shouldn't persons be charged? Why did it take MSR Media to file this case? Why our government couldn't go on the offensive and make these allegations and charge people if there was illegal activity? And lastly, to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, if this CBI program get destroyed, all of the citizens are going to suffer. It potentially will stop all of those social programs will be in jeopardy. And if any of those social programs get affected gravely like that, it's definitely going to have a spike in crime. So the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, they got to stand up, man, for themselves. A lot of people will be calling in and trying to stand up for them. And some of these persons, they kick back with the negative connotations after when you try to make positive comments in their favor. And there's only one thing I see that the people should be doing right now is mobilizing themselves. If the politicians can't stand up for the country's CBI, the people then need to mobilize themselves and unite and stand up together and put all that party politics aside and put all of this talk aside and really do some action and show these politicians who really got the power. The people got the real power in their hands. We see how Team Unity fall apart, and coming down the stretch, how all of those politicians start spilling their guts. One thing I know, man, if this case materialized on U.S. soil and the heat get turned up on some of these defendants, they might start spilling their guts just like that. And the country of St. Kitts and Nevis don't need that, man. They've already been dragged through the mud enough, man. And all I can say to the people, they need to get in front of this case and go and protest in the street peacefully against this corruption. There's nowhere else this corruption is going to change, man. Nowhere else. People got to stand up for their rights, man. And that's what I really want to say tonight, man. Okay. Before the start of this case, if this case materializes, the people should go in the street and protest peacefully and show this current government and all the politicians and them in the Federation that they are the ones that got the power in their hands. And that's all I want to say tonight, man. I wish the Federation the best, man. Me personally, I'm real disappointed in what I'm seeing, man. And I wish the Federation the best. And thanks a lot, man.
Thanks a lot, my Straight Dog family. Always welcome your contributions. It's 11 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. My lines are open. I'll take the emails in the meantime. Why the Prime Minister is so dangerous? Read this email. One of his palace guard journalists asked him a simple question at his round table conference. The question was, Prime Minister, now that the gun amnesty date has passed, can you tell us how many firearms, if any, were turned in to the police? Not even that he could answer. Instead, he had come up with some lie and cock and bull story telling the journalist he does not have the answer. How he does not have the answer when the commissioner had already told him that not one firearm was turned in, except a piece of old rusty gun that came in, and he would only call it a firearm because of the legal definition of the Firearms Act. But the whole exercise was a dismal failure. Tell the country the truth, even for once, man, Joe. It seems like you relish your name, July. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, thank you, Patches. Good night.
Good night, sir.
To all the listeners. In my personal view of the situation with MSR, the litigation, and all who were listed in this suit. Now, you could interact with me, and I always said I stand for correction if I am misleading the public, in my view. Now, Philip Martinez attempted to enter Barbados, and Barbados said, you are not welcome here. And as a result of that, contact was made with Nevis, where Mark Brantley accepted him into Nevis. And moving fast forward, he got all these opportunities. Mind you, remember, he's not a citizen. And he got all these opportunities. Link with Mark Brantley. Could it be Mark Brantley needed a sidekick to make this claim that Philip Martinez? So I consider, I will not call Mark Brantley a snake now. I will call him a baker, because a baker has to mold the dough to make the bread. So who is the baker and who is the dough? Mark Brantley used Philip Martinez to make this claim and to stay away from not uttering one word, but he have the ammunition to give Philip Martinez. How Philip Martinez know all these facts to make a claim? And I could tell you, this claim that he filed in the United States that case will be dismissed because the United States have no jurisdiction over St. Kitts affairs and what they do. But what the United States can do, if you are harboring
the number is 150,000
people of terrorists coming into St. Kitts and then enter into the United States, that is a threat to the United States. So you know what the U.S. government might do? All who have passport for St. Kitts, the U.S. might end up bar all Kittitians, anyone with Kittitian passport from coming to the United States because they are possible that there could be terrorists leave from China, Russia, wherever to enter here. Just like the issue with the Iranian. I don't know what was the discoveries about that Iranian, whether he was a terrorist or he was fleeing prosecution or whatever. But it looked bad. And how the hell the Prime Minister can give someone so much money and partner with them? When I said him and Mark Brantley, it's a setup. They're using Philip Martinez as a door, and they give him facts. They give him facts.
Okay.
But is Philip Martinez really can prove these facts unless he getting some kind of information from some kind of source?
Okay.
And that is like selling out the country, and that is treason because you're bringing in a foreign force wherever he came from to lay down that cloud on the Federation, and that gonna deprive the Federation of the due diligence that was expected and become a stop.
Okay.
I will come again. That's my calculation.
Thank you very much for your calculation, my dear brother. It's 9:55. I'll take a few more calls. Yes, the lines are open. I see someone trying to get in, but if I take your call, I'll knock that other caller off the line. But Patches, July was to appear on the Issues show yesterday, but all of a sudden, he cancelled. The host said he was under the weather. I don't believe that for a second. July is afraid to face the people. That's why he's making up stories about he's sick. I understand he's out of the country today, but yesterday he was too sick to come on the radio to speak to the people. I want to let July know that he can't run from the people forever. Soon he will have to face the music, reads this email. This other email reads, "Good night, Patches. Now if MSR was brought into the Federation by the NIA and Mark boasting that nobody's name in Nevis is calling, Patches the top at the mic stinks. Something is not adding up. Mark is indeed living up to his name, the snake. He snaked out the Labour Party as he did with Team Unity. I hope people with sense are listening to these lying ministers," reads this other email. They have young people or young men who are on the pep like a bunch of puppy shows. They should go here to sign names, then go this way and that way to sign names again. Let them stop playing with big people, July and his extensive lying cabinet. People are noticing the reasons now they should have never voted for Labour, but it's too late. They should have left the country in the capable hands of Tim. Patches, if the people in St. Kitts had a discernment of spirit, they would have never voted for Labour, and the Christian Council should be ashamed of themselves because they are far from God, reads this email. How did you link the Christian Council there? Good night, Patches. With all the lawsuits out, my advice to you as a regular listener is, if you cannot substantiate, abbreviate, don't let anyone take food off your plate. See you on Monday at 8, reads this email. OTI was sold it to the movie people. So what is the problem here? Can you explain, my Straight Talk family? I don't know. Good evening, Patches. Mr. Brantley's credibility has come under severe scrutiny following glaring inconsistencies in his statements about the MSR media case. On November 15, 2023, during a radio show, Brantley admitted that during the previous administration, thousands of citizenships were illegally sold at prices far below the legal rate, misleading the international community about the Citizenship by Investment program. He claimed to have warned his colleagues during cabinet meetings about these illegal actions. Yet just days ago, at his May monthly press conference, Brantley declared he was no longer part of the Team Unity cabinet when the deal with MSR Media was made. This blatant contradiction reveals not only a lack of consistency, but also hints at malicious vendetta against the former Prime Minister Timothy Harris. Brantley's attempts to distance himself from the controversy while simultaneously implicating Harris smack of political maneuvering. Brantley's duplicity raises serious questions about his integrity and true intentions. Is his newfound stance a genuine concern for legality, or is it a calculated effort, to undermine Harris? The inconsistency not only describes Brantley, but also exposes a potentially deeper agenda aimed at discrediting Harris and his administration. As this saga unfolds, Brantley's actions will be scrutinized for what they truly are, a strategic ploy to settle old scores, reads this email. And this final email, Patches, on Freedom Radio, EK was technically throwing word on Dwyer, his commentary yesterday. But when Byron, who ain't hiding to Labas, the government, her tongue twisted like he in agreement with her. He's nothing but, yes, a particular name. But yes, my Straight Dog family, I'll take perhaps 2 more calls if I can accommodate 2 more calls before I wrap tonight's programming. And if you have joined me late tonight, we were in fact our thesis is fair share and with an unhidden agenda, my Straight Dog family. And we are just about winding down fair share of CBI revenues and new hidden agenda, beg your pardon, my Straight Dog family. And this email reads, Patches, I heard a lawyer reverse the document MSR on January 24, your birthday. Why is he trying to bring you in the lawsuit? I don't know how serious this one is, my Straight Dog family, but it's, as I said, 1 minute past the 10 o'clock hour. I'll take 2 more calls for tonight. But as we said, fair share of CBI revenues and hidden agenda we discussed tonight. And the hidden agenda, obviously, we have uncovered. My Straight Dog family, as we intimated tonight, that the Lebanese San Negro is trying to get even with Denzel Llewellyn Douglas. He's also trying to get even with Tim Harris. Remember when the government changed, he accused Harris of some issue with campaign funding. That was proven to be wrong. Now he is, and he used to be a service provider, you know. I don't know at what rate the passports used to be sold at that time. But my Straight Dog family, as we wind down tonight's programming, like I said, we have seen a situation whereby a convicted fraudster has come to this country, benefited immensely from this country, and we are sitting idly by and doing nothing about it. And it is time, my Straight Dog family, that we stand up and protect the reputation of our country. We examine what is now happening. We examine Brantley's stance, and we ask if he has abandoned his plea for fair share of CBI revenues. Remember, he mashed up a government because of his fair share, my Straight Dog family. But now, he seemed to have aligned himself with this convicted felon. Brantley, in fact, and his Nevis Island administration sponsored Philippe Martinez, who has done jail time. So how did he pass his due diligence test? He failed it in Barbados, but he passed it in Nevis, or it was overlooked in Nevis. He launched a scheme to enrich or designed to impoverish the CBI industry in St. Kitts and Nevis, my Straight Dog family, and enrich Philippe Martinez at the expense of the people of Nevis, my Straight Dog family. What is going to happen to the CBI is a question being asked by many. Gaston Brown of Antigua told the Lebanese to keep his poop in St. Kitts, and he went all the way to Grenada to poop. He talked about due diligence and Chinese firms doing due diligence. And I asked the question, who the hell can do or should do due diligence in China or Russia or wherever, in Syria, wherever the passports are sold? Would you send a petition to do due diligence in China? And my Straight Dog family, we walk through the due diligence process, and we, in fact, expose you to the different levels. And one such level, which is the final one, is very interesting, and I want to apprise you of it before we leave tonight.
The fourth level of due diligence is when we submit the files or the information to international law enforcement. International law enforcement, there's a group in the Caribbean that consolidates all of this data, and they will search databases for anti-money laundering, fraud, criminal activity, terrorism financing, terrorism activity. And we will get that information back. At that point, when we have all of these due diligence reports, we will go through a rigorous vetting of the file. And there is a level 1 vetting, there is a level 2 vetting, a level 3, a level 4. Each one of these stages looking at the documents in the file against the reports that we've received from the due diligence sources. We will look for money laundering activity and bank statements. We look for source of income and proof of funds. These are all the rigor that we put around the due diligence and the actual application process to ensure that we maintain the platinum brand, and we only ensure that individuals of high integrity come into our program.
And that's the process, my Straight Dog family. And the final one has caught my eyes. Caller, I'm going to give you 20 seconds.
Well,
I can live with I can live with 30. You can say quite a lot in 30 seconds.
I'm going to say 15. I just want to amend what I started out. Now, listen. Anger has been poured down on Philip Martinez. You know really who the anger should be poured down onto?
Who?
The baker that bring him in, because we could have denied him entrance into Nevis and St. Kitts, and he didn't force or hijack a plane to come into St. Kitts. He was welcome. He was not welcome in Barbados, but he was welcome in Nevis and spreading things over to St. Kitts because of our connections. So, who is the real hitman? Mark Brantley is the hitman setting up foreigners on our local, past, and present leaders. So Mark Brantley is the one who is doing all these damages. You all can. Philip Martinez get an opportunity and he take it. But he had to be molded in order for this matter for this hit to be carried out. So far, so good. But let's see the end game. And to me, Mark Brantley is selling out the country, and that's treason. I don't know if the scholars will look into this, because there is a start and there is an end. I think I took 15 seconds. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. Street Dog family. Decisions must be made, and my first caller, if I reflect, gave us a quotation tonight. It goes something like this: leadership is a privilege to better the lives of others and not an opportunity to enrich yourselves. I think that's the quotation. It stands to be corrected. And it's a point I will use as I depart tonight. Because leaders saying that they are not named or I am not named, it's a cop-out. It's something we have to examine closely. Because those who are saying that are the star witnesses. The Lebanese is an advisor. Yes, an advisor to the convicted criminal, Philip Martinez. The snake bankrolled him. And 3 months after assuming office, July told us that the prison project could not be switched. And he signed all these certificates of registration, CORs. And he should better tell us now, because that truth will come out, July. That must come to light, believe it or not.
Example, the CBI program, we know that one of the major projects that was approved under the previous administration was a prison project, Madam Speaker. A prison was approved. And 5,500 citizenships, or shares rather, Madam Speaker, shares, as it was called then, shares, was used for that project. It means, therefore, that 5,500 main applicants, if they were to invest in the prison project, can apply for citizenship. And if they would have passed the due diligence and other screening procedures, can access our passport. But Madam Speaker, that is just the main applicants. If you have a family of 4, that is a single share. With a family of 4, that's 4 times 5,500 passports, Madam Speaker. Do a calculation. I'm asking the people of this country. I've been asked for the numbers. And even members from the other side who know very well what the numbers are, they have asked that the numbers be given, but we took a deep dive, and now we are ready to say what happened with that project. So if you were to multiply 5,500 by 4, and the mathematicians are here, I am sure you'll get well over what? 20,000? Yes. 20,000. What is the population of St. Kitts and Nevis, Madam Speaker? About 55,000 on a good day. And just on one project, Madam Speaker, a prison project, the previous administration allowed access to a number of passports, which is about half of the population of St. Kitts and Nevis.
You said the population of St. Kitts and Nevis is 55,000 on a good day. What does our Prime Minister talk about sometimes? When you hear him say, so on and so forth, you know, he spoke to the calculation and the number of passports, about half the population, which is 55,000 a good day. And if you do the calculations based on his own formula and information he presented, it would tend to suggest that the government treasury should have received, if all those shares were sold, according to him, $330 million US. That's almost $1 billion. St. Lucia gives us the information, Grenada does, but July would not dare provide information. And he would not dare tell us how many passports or how many CORs he signed. This is the character of July. And that's why we have to come to the conclusion that we have a Prime Minister who is acting as if he's dotish. He acts like a dundudik. Because Caribbean Galaxy gave us Ramada Hotel. If it's not stopped, then we will get a correctional facility. And based on his calculation, then we should earn approximately $1 billion if the fees are collected. But July knows what he's saying. If he knows what he's saying, then how could he take sides with a convicted fraudster who already raped the Nevis Island administration treasury over $10 million? How could he stand by a fraudster who wants to really damage our national bank, in which the government which he leads has some 51% of its shares? Yet he's allowing this fraudster to paralyze the bank, my Straight Talk family, by just naming it in this RICO lawsuit. What is July thinking about, my Straight Talk family? Is he okay in his mind? So my Straight Talk family, while he himself, July, and the stake Brantley are gloating, they have to be careful, my Straight Talk family. Because the RICO lawsuit the convicted felon Martinez has brought against the National Bank? Is he aware that he's the Minister of Finance and the government owns 51% of the bank shares? Then July must understand his role as Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. But he's trying to get even with Denzel Douglas. So too with Timothy Harris, because he hit the Harrises. But my Straight Dog family, we have hell, the possibility of breaking loose. And my Straight Dog family, we've exposed the Lebanese. Just what he did to Garth Lucifer Wilkin and released his emails. He too got inside of Casper and was getting information to ensure that his client built the pier. And that was not to be. So he hated Timothy Harris, my Straight Dog family. He threatened as well a judicial review, my Straight Dog family. But he got a warning that any improper publication of Casper's confidential information clearly require further discussion and advice from our counsel. That was what came from the then chairman of the board of directors when he exposed Astafan for being in possession of information that ought to be only in possession of the management and members of the board. So too, he gave his client information between him and the Attorney General. He pooped in Antigua. He was run. They ran him. He went to poop in Grenada. My Straight Dog family, his poop stinks. Let's stay far from him. Let's stay far, far from him. In conclusion, my Straight Dog family, again, I commend others for standing up. And many of us should stand up. We ought to stand up for what is right, my Straight Dog family. Let's sound the trumpet. When we hear that trumpet, it's a call not to bear arms. As I said, although we need arms, it is a call, it is not as a call to battle, although we are in battle. My Straight Dog family, if the right thing is not done, we will come from St. Paul's in the west and Tabernacle in the northeast, to Newtown in the east and Village in the west and across from Nevis. There's no relief in sight, my Straight Dog family. I want to say, sacrifices have been made and sacrifices will be made, my Straight Dog family. But I must tell you, when I say what I mean, and these are the things I mean, when I talk about the snake, Mark Brantley, the crooked Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin, and the Lebanese San Negro. That's what I talk about. It's a fair share of CBI revenues, and there's a new hidden agenda. That's my story tonight, and I'm not going to change it, my Straight Dog family. But I'll thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I want to thank you, the listeners, those who called, those who sent emails. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. Until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember that whatever your mind conceives, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye, my Straight Talk family. I am tempted to say one more time, keep moving on until we connect on Monday.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praise